Life doesn't always go as planned, and that's okay. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to a new video. It is a bit chilly here, and I thought I'd just sit down, have a coffee, and chat with you guys. I have talked about this for quite some time in my group on Facebook, and I've also thought about this for quite some time also. And I'm learning as I go, right? That was kind of like our topic kind of yesterday that we talk about, and also making mistakes. But I also have learned that life doesn't go as planned. And to kind of let the reins go a little bit and kind of just go with the flow. And I know how that sounds, but let me explain. So many years ago, back in, okay, well, I'm not that old, but it's been some time. So back in like grade 6, when I was like 10, 11, 12, in that range, there's always these tasks that they had us do, and like, oh, right, in your future, where do you see yourself in 10 years or 15 years? And I literally planned out my whole life, guys. I wrote it down to a T. I would go to middle school, go to high school, finish high school, go to college, maybe start dating in college, get a job, get married, get a house, have children. I laid it all out. And as the years went on, I totally went off script. I did not follow that plan at all. I dated in high school, which was a bad choice. I made some unhealthy decisions, and I used to get all frustrated and pissed off because I wasn't following my plan. And then, so I would just go down this other like turmoil path of like just kind of beating myself up. Then 2-3 years ago, life happened, lots of things happened, and then I was just going through a whole bunch of stuff, reorganizing my life, just kind of figuring it out. And I found this piece of paper that I had everything laid out with. And I kind of looked back and I said, holy crap. I was really naive or really smart back then to think that there wouldn't be any chance that I would go off script. Like, in this plan, I wrote out, like, oh, if stuff happened, we would deal with it. But I would stay on path. Well, again, that did not happen. I totally did not stay on course. And for a good few days, I was so pissed off at myself. I was like, oh my God, like, why was I so stupid? Why did I not just follow this plan? Why? Then I took a step back and said, well, wait, hold on a second. What has happened in that time that, I have learned from or did change my course of path? But what good came out of it? And I sat there and I listed the pros and cons of the path that, I fell upon. And sometimes life just happens, and you kind of just have to go with the flow. That some things are just, whether you're religious or not, or spiritual, it just comes to the fact that sometimes life is just out of our hands, that we can't control what is around us. And even though we fight for all of that control, we just kind of end up putting on that pressure on ourselves, or like being more frustrated with ourselves if it does not happen. And so many things have happened since I wrote that life plan out, family members have passed away, family members have gotten sick, I have changed. I was in an abusive relationship. Then I had to get out of that relationship and try to figure out who I was. And I turned into this person who I didn't even know. I just kind of put on this facade so I didn't have to deal with anything. And then when I started dealing with stuff, it was life changed again. And it was all, the question was it all worth it? Was worth going off my plan worth it? And that was such a deep question of, I don't know. You know, if certain things didn't happen in my life, would I be the person I am today? And I kind of sat back and I was like, okay, Jess, can you imagine your life without all this stuff that happened to you? And the answer to that is no. I can't imagine what my life would be like if I didn't get into an abusive relationship, if I didn't go off script, if I stayed to this line of things that I had laid out for me. And in a way, it kind of pissed me off because I saw the people around me, you know, kind of having these lives, doing their things, and I was kind of just stuck in this bubble of, I can't really explain it. I was just stuck in this bubble of, this is my life. I have to accept that. However, I did come to the conclusion of, yes, this is my life. Yes, I have to accept it. But however, I can make changes in it. I can do stuff that I love and still get to that end goal of having a family one day, perhaps getting married, getting a home. I will still have that. It will just take me a lot longer to get it. I have to go around in these little loop-de-loop circles and crisscross to get to that end goal. And again, it might take me a lot longer, but I will get there one day. I might just have to do it differently. And I will do it differently because my life did take another turn. Yes, I drink from an Eeyore cup. I am a big Disney fan, but I can relate to Eeyore. So, and yes, that name probably does not sound right because the whole fact is I cannot pronounce my R's. Years ago, like way back in like grade 1 and grade 2, I went through speech therapy. I know this is off. And I had a piece of hair, sorry. And I just, my R's are just one thing I have never gotten, so it kind of sounds like a W, and I apologize. But again, that used to upset me and stuff, be like, oh, well, why can't I pronounce my R's, and blah, blah, blah. It was the little things that I used to beat myself up with. Granted, I still do that all the time, guys. I am not, by any means necessary, over that hump. I beat myself up over the littlest things of like, oh, why can't you be a better daughter? Why can't you be a better sister? Why can't you be a better cousin or niece? Why can't you be better at this? Why can't you do this? And I tend to beat myself up a lot. Because of the fact that, you know, I'm very hard on myself, and that's probably because of like all the things that I have gone through. And so yeah, I tend to be a lot more harder on myself. So I was just trying to find the right words there of just yeah, beating myself up. I guess that's kind of like the word I would go through of like, why can't you be this way? And then it's just like, well, stop comparing yourself. This is your life. Do you. Like, do what makes you happy. And I had to kind of figure out what it made me happy for the longest time, because I just didn't know, because I was just so busy trying to make everybody else happy and not doing what makes me happy. And I have this goal in my life that I want to do, and I can see it in my sights, but it is very hard to get there. And that is releasing my book that I wrote. Now, I spent years after high school contemplating if I should write this book. And then 2 years ago, I said, you know what? Screw it, I'm writing it. And I wrote for days straight. Well, of course, in between working. So I wrote this book when I was working, and I was working long hours, like 13 to 16 hours a day. I shit you not, that was my job for 5 days a week, sometimes 6. So I broke my back, not literally, figuratively, working and then writing this book for days. I did this for, I would say, a good 10 days. And then I was editing and putting this book together and just going back and forth of like trying to figure out like, oh, you know, what order should all this go down? And then I stopped, because life took another unexpected turn, and I had to just kind of put that on hold and focus on myself. When that was done, I pulled out this book I wrote, and it is over a good 100 pages. But that's typed out, so if it was like in a book format, it would be a lot larger, like larger in like width or size, or both. And I pulled it out and I re-edited it. I went through it, put it in another order, and then I sat down and I read it from back to front to back. There we go. And I realized when I finished it, like, holy hell, I need to release this. This needs to go out into the public eye, not for fame and glory, but to the fact that somebody else might be in that situation or might be dealing with this. And I felt so alone. I couldn't go to the school. I couldn't go to my friends. I couldn't go to my family, because I was made to believe that I was worthless, that I was a nobody, that nobody would believe me, that I was just looking for attention. And I felt so alone. And I would never want anybody else to feel that way. And my whole life changed because of all of this that I went through. And granted, I didn't tell everything in this book that I put together. And I'm debating whether or not to put some other things in that book. And, you know, that's something that will, you know, I would have to really think about that. But there's still time, because of course I cannot release it just yet. Those, you know, life changes again, and I have to wait for that. And I have to work more towards that goal, because life changed, life happened, and, you know, I have to put that on the back burner, which is fine. I mean, one day it will get there. One day I will release this book. That is my life goal, is to release this book. And again, granted, a lot of this has never been heard before. by my family or by my friends. And still there are certain things that I would say only one person knows about. And there's still some stuff that people don't know about, like, at all. And I know a lot of people are going to feel a type of way about this book, or about stories that I will share on here. And here's the thing, guys. I spent so many years trying to please everybody that I forgot to do stuff for me that makes me happy. And I said this in yesterday's video. So, yes, I am stepping out of that circle that I put myself in, that, I have to please everybody, that I have to do what people want. And I'm doing what's good for me, what I want, what makes me happy. And if that pisses off people in the long run, so be it. It will happen. You can't make everybody happy, but I thoroughly enjoy talking and sharing my experiences and learning about other people's experiences. So never feel that you're alone. And I know you might feel alone. A lot of people are like, oh, you're never alone, blah, blah, blah. I'm here to tell you I will always be here for you. Feel free to send me a message, comment. I will leave my Instagram down below. You guys can reach out that way. Send me messages and we can just talk. Because I know how it feels to be so alone. Even if those people around you, but you feel like you can't share your story or tell them what's going on, so you just put on this facade. And I just really hope that if your life path changes, that you won't pressure yourself to, try to fight that change. That even though you feel alone and you have nowhere else to go, that you can reach out and talk to me, guys. I'm always here for you guys. And I know how that sounds, because a lot of people say that, like, oh, you're never alone, like, oh, message me. From the bottom of my heart, I mean it. I truly mean it. I have been saying this for years, since I started my group on Facebook, and I will link that down below. So you guys can check that out. There's lots of videos on there. So I'm actually looking forward to doing some of those topics on here, which is so exciting. So we're going to grow this channel one step at a time, guys. Grow this community of love and support and kindness. And I hope you have a fantastic day, guys. Remember, never give up. Always keep fighting. You are enough and you are loved. Have a great Thursday, everybody. Sending my love to you guys.